Hi, my name is John Schlee. I'd like to introduce you to some of the exciting possibilities that exist in golf. What could be more exciting than finishing a round of golf and feeling totally satisfied? Feeling that you had just played more consistent than ever before. Feeling improvement and knowing that the next time you play could even be better. I know the secret that will give you that feeling, and I'm going to share it with you. High-speed pictures capturing the moment of impact of winning world-class players reveals an amazing truth. They all look very close to the same position at that moment. Their left knee is over their left toe and flexed, supporting 90 to 100% of their weight on the outside of their left foot. The only part of their right foot touching the ground is their right toe. Their knees, hips, and shoulders are open to their line and turning level left. Their arms and hands are levered for maximum power, in control, leading a trailing club head. You may be thinking, well, that's great, but what does that do for me? First, defining this point in your mind is important. Then, as you progress through my 7 fundamentals, rules, and elements, they will give you the knowledge that will let you achieve the very same position at impact of the world-class players. This position will produce the type of shots that will make you excited about your game. The excitement will increase when you realize that 80% of the task ahead of you can be done in the privacy of your own home. Don't jump up yet. Let me tell you an important story about Ben Hogan and me, and make an important point about you, and then we'll get started. Back in the late 60s and early 70s, I had the good fortune of taking lessons from Ben Hogan. Ben answered some questions for me no one else was able to answer. Those answers gave me the peace of mind that produced a consistent money-winning record on the tour for the rest of my playing years. After my time with Ben, I realized there were only 7 fundamentals. They are analyzing, planning, dreaming, setting up, previewing, swinging, and reviewing. Of the 7 fundamentals, learning a setup that made sense was the most important breakthrough for me. On one particular day with Ben, I was having difficulty getting the feel of what he wanted me to do with my swing. Trying another approach, he asked me to show him how I would like to be set up at impact. So to the best of my ability at that time, I set up in what I thought was a good impact position. Then he said, "That looks fine, John, but flex your knees more. Turn your knees and hips open. Put your hands forward so there's a cup in the back of your right wrist and your left wrist is bowed out. Set your arms inward." Then he said, "Now you look like a real player." I felt very unusual. Then he said, "Start all over again, going through your setup procedure and show me again." So I went through my setup procedure to capture that same exact position. Then he said something very shocking to me. He said, "John, hit a shot from there." I froze. I took a deep breath and took a swing. You'll never guess what happened. I nailed the shot. Perfect, right at my target. With the excitement and shock I was feeling, I went through my setup procedure to make sure I had the same exact setup, and I hit 3 more shots. They were all perfect also, right at my target. I wanted to prove to myself that the first one was not a fluke. Then I asked Ben, why were those shots so consistent and so solid? He told me I had used my mind and my setup procedure to show my body exactly how I wanted it to be when the ball was on the club face. and it was glad to reproduce that position at impact, producing 4 good shots. Muscle memory? Science says it doesn't exist. I know it does. It works for me, and it works for thousands of students that have gone through my school and had enough courage to do something different in golf. Being aware that your mind is the coach and your body is the team, and the team is the only part of you that can make your wishes and dreams come true is a very important part of golf. With that awareness, you can now start using the 7 fundamentals and their rules and elements to develop your unique procedure. Each time you have a shot, your procedure will take you about 30 seconds. You will learn that golf is played 1 30-second procedure at a time, 1 shot at a time. When you have defined and refined your mental and physical procedure to the point that it is habit, whether you are playing a driver off the first tee or a 4-foot putt on the last hole for your personal best score, you will find the satisfaction and excitement you've been looking for in golf. One more fact before we get started. You can't fire the coach and you can't trade the team. So let's get started. First, educating the coach, and then I'll leave it up to you and your coach to train your body and team to fulfill your wishes and dreams in golf. Let's take a look at the 30-second procedure and how we get it started. We start this with Fundamental 1. Fundamental 1 is analyzing the total situation surrounding the shot you're preparing to hit to your target. We're standing here on the 10th tee of Palo Mesa Resort. The 10th hole is a 390-yard par 4 dog leg to the left. Trees right, trees left. A real nice test. We have marked my comfortable spot in the fairway with a sign 245 yards out in the right center of the fairway. I have selected to tee up on the right side of the tee because this is a dog leg to the left. This takes some of the curve out of the hole. Were I to choose to go over here on the left side of the tee and tee up, this would increase the curve of the hole from right to left. Were I to hit it down the center of the fairway from here, it could possibly roll into the trees to the right, giving me a very difficult shot. So what I have selected is teeing up on the right side of the tee. Another situation we have to consider is the wind. Today in this situation, we have a slightly following wind. Since we're golfing our ball into the air, it's important to realize which way the wind is moving, or the air is moving. It's with us. Now in this situation, it would be very silly to try to plan a big curve left or a big curve to the right, a hook or a slice, because when the ball is traveling with the wind, it won't turn as much. Another consideration is how firm the ground is. Since we're hitting our shot downwind, and Palo Mesa has a very modern, up-to-date sprinkler system which keeps the fairway soft, which holes roll to a minimum, I'm selecting a target in the right center of the fairway. This will give me a perfect second shot to the pin back left. Now let's go to Fundamental 2. Fundamental 2 is selecting the simplest possible shot in a club to hit that shot with. You must be aware that every shot you have many options. I don't have to hit a driver on this shot. Say I'd played the front 9 and had hit the driver poorly. I have 9 holes left to go, want to salvage some score, keep myself in position to make some birdies. I can select a 3-wood. With the 3-wood, it's a much more accurate club. It won't go as far, but I will definitely have a good shot from the fairway. If I were to go back in my career, and for 20 shots, instead of the driver that put me in a lot of trouble, I could put 20 smooth 7-iron shots off the tee, such as this one right here. Just a smooth 7-iron, 155 yards down the middle of the fairway. And I could take those shots and insert them into tournaments I played. I would have won the US Open, I would have won the PGA, and I would have won the Masters. So realize, standing on a tee, you must have a comfortable shot in mind. At the moment of address, when you don't feel comfortable with the club you have in your hand, stop, put it back in your bag, and get one you're comfortable with. We're out here to have a good time, not to build our ego by beating drivers into the woods to the right and left. Now let's go play our second shots. I have 147 yards to the pin on the left center of the green. Normally this would be an 8-iron, but since I have a following wind, I've selected a 9-iron. I have a good lie. I know the green will hold. I'm ready to start my procedure to hit this shot to my target. Let's go back and start. Back here I rehearse that good finish to send this shot right at the flag. The flag is framed perfectly with the big pine tree behind it. I see the shot going right at the hole. Now the smooth walk. Set the arms. Set up perfect ball position. Smooth swing. Got my ball cleaned. Place it back in front of the spot with a manufacturer's label pointing down the line. Get behind the ball, line my mind up. Walk up, get set, straight putt. Set up with that lined up mind, straight in the hole. In Fundamental 1 and 2, we were playing golf. In Fundamental 3, we stand behind the ball, placing our hands on the club, gripping the club, and get our mind lined up. When I was on the tour as a rookie, I loved to play with Gene Littler. As I was fidgeting around getting my yardages, Gene Littler would stand behind the ball and take swing motions as I'm doing now. Later on, I found out that Gene was previewing the shot he had selected going to his target. This is the dream. This is the finish of the dream. Should I preview a finish to a perfect swing and have my hands on the club incorrectly, the shot could go anywhere. The hands have two roles in the golf swing. First, they grip the club, and second, they help cocking the wrists. Since we put our hands on the club for the first time in Fundamental 3, let's take a look at the grip. Before we take a look at the grip, let's define a few parts of the hands. Hold your left hand like I am. Place your index finger of your right hand right under your knuckles. Turn your hand over and you'll see that the fingers extend down into what we normally call the palm of the hand. Actually, we have fingers and fingers with webbing. Everything from the callus line to the fingers, the tips of the fingers, are fingers. Take your left thumb and bend it forward, emphasizing what is known as the lifeline. You will see that all of the area above this is thumb. The rest of the hand, this kind of slice of pie here, is the palm. As you learn to achieve a perfect left-hand grip, you will find that your left-hand grip is 75% fingers, 12.5% palm, and 12.5% thumb. Now, to understand how we put the left hand on the club, hold your hand out as I am doing. Keeping the back of your left hand in the same attitude, let your fingertips roll into the palm of your hand. You can see the back of the left hand and the front of the forearm remain straight. Just roll the fingertips into the palm of the hand. Now let's do this with a club. Holding the left arm and the club at a 90-degree angle, we take the fingertips and roll them into the palm. The back of the left hand and the forearm remain lined up. The reason we do this is because it allows us to get a good wrist cock. Gripping the club perpendicular to the left arm allows us at the top of our back turn to get in a position where we can get loaded up, the left arm and the club at a 90-degree angle. As I look down, I can see the fingernail of the little finger of my left hand. Notice the fingertips of my two middle fingers extend up on top of the club. The butt of the left thumb slightly touches those. The thumb is on the right side of the shaft. If you cannot see the little finger this vividly with your grip, I would suggest you get smaller grips. We have found in the school that a standard size grip fits a medium-large hand. Make sure you have the appropriate size grips on your club to achieve this checkpoint. Why is grip size so important? Take a pencil, grip it in both hands. You will feel with a very small grip you have very agile wrists, very supple. Take a piece of paper, roll it up and grip it. Now you'll see your wrist tighten up. Grip size is important to get your maximum wrist cock, so make sure you have the proper size grips on your clubs. Gripping the left hand in this manner allows us to accomplish two things. Number one, the left elbow can be pointed at the left hip, squaring the face up. Number two, the left shoulder can be relaxed down and away, which allows it to turn level left. As we grip the club in this manner, you will notice that there is some play regardless of how tight I try to grip the club. The thumb of the left hand is placed slightly on the right side of the club and pulled slightly down, taking the slack out of the grip. This left hand is a tremendous stabilizing factor in the golf swing. Let's take a look at the checkpoints for the left hand. The V formed by the thumb and index finger of the left hand points up the middle of the arm to the left shoulder. The back of the left hand and the face of the club are parallel. There's a slight bow in the back of the left wrist. The extension from the first knuckle joint of the little finger is facing the ground. Gripping the left hand in this manner allows us to accomplish two things. Number one, the left elbow can be pointed at the left hip, squaring the face up. Number 2, the left shoulder can be relaxed down and away, which allows it to turn level left. Putting the right hand on the club is done with the 2 middle fingers of the right hand in the second knuckle joint. The fingertips of these 2 middle fingers just barely touch the thumb of the left hand. The little finger of the right hand and the butt of the right thumb go over the left thumb, slightly caressing it, squeezing it, welding the grip together in one solid unit. The thumb and index finger of the right hand is one of the most developed nerve patterns in the body. The thumb and index finger of the right hand is normally called the pinchers. We use this for every task we do. They do more damage and good if they don't have a job to do in the swing. The thumb and index finger of the right hand are placed very lightly on the club. In Fundamental 6, you will learn that the thumb and index finger of the right hand pull in and down from the top of the back turn, helping you get onto the power plane. It's very important to keep the thumb and index finger of the right hand very relaxed and supple on the club until you get in position for the thumb and index finger to pull down and in. Take the thumb and index finger of your right hand and squeeze them together. You'll notice the muscles in the outside of the right forearm are activated. During a swing, when you activate this thumb and index finger, it tends to pull the right elbow out. Now, take and grip with the last 3 fingers of your left hand. Notice the muscles on the inside of the left forearm are activated. These are the muscles we will use during the swing to get the right elbow and hands loaded deep into the hitting area. The thumb and index finger of the right hand works back. From the top of the back turn, most golfers activate the thumb and index finger of the right hand entirely wrong. They start by using that thumb and index finger throwing the club head at the ball. What we want to do is take the thumb and index finger of the right hand, pulling down and in, using the last 3 fingers of the right hand, which activate these inside muscles, which allow you to get your maximum wrist cock, maximum load, and keep deep down into the hitting area without releasing that thumb and index finger of the right hand. I would suggest that you hit shots without this thumb and index finger of the right hand on the club until you become comfortable and efficient with it. Let's watch this during a swing. Let's take a look at a system that will determine grip pressure. Take the club in both hands, gripping it normally, and grip the club as tight as you can. Tighter, 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 till your forearms start burning. Let's label this as a 5. Now, relax your hands and your arms and your shoulders and grip the club as loose as possible. This will be a 1 on our grip pressure scale. The reason we have to have a grip pressure scale is because most golfers grip the club entirely too tight. We want a very light grip on the club. If you have a choice between gripping the club too tight or too loose, grip it too loose. The left hand has a 1.5, the right hand has a 1.0. Light and loose grip. When you grip the club too tight, this creates tension that goes up the arms to the shoulders, making the whole upper body structure tense. You must remember, tense muscles cannot work. What about an interlocking grip? With an interlocking grip, we end up with a gap between the fingers of the left hand and the right hand of more than an inch. What we're trying to achieve with the grip is one solid unit. What I would suggest is getting used to an overlapping grip. That way you have 6 fingers in a row working together to form a good solid unit. Let's take a look at the checkpoints for the overall grip, starting with the left hand. The V formed by the thumb and index finger of the left hand points up the middle of the arm to the left shoulder. The thumb is slightly on the right side of the shaft. There's a slight bow in the back of the left wrist. The 2 middle fingers of the right hand just barely touch the thumb of the left hand. The little finger and the thumb of the right hand work together to caress the thumb of the left hand. The thumb and index finger of the right hand are very lightly laid on the club. The V formed by the thumb and index finger of the right hand points at the left shoulder. There's a cup in the back of the right wrist. The left hand grip pressure is 1.5. The right hand grip pressure is 1.0. The palm of the left hand faces the palm of the right hand. The palms of the hands are always parallel to each other. Fundamental 4 is taking your lined up mind and setting up your body with the club, with the ball, to the target. Rule 1 of Fundamental 4 is placing the ball right between the feet at a 90-degree angle to our target. Element 1 is that the left arm and the club is at a 90-degree angle. Element 2 is that the shoulders are relaxed and sloped down and away from the ears. Element 3 is that the back is straight. Element 4 is taking a deep breath, holding it for the count of 4 to 6, and then letting it out. Letting out tension and letting in peace of mind. Let's examine the 5 elements of Rule 2. The first element is that our back is straight. The second element is that our stomach is activated to support and fortify that straight back. Element 3, the hands and arms come down until the butt of the club hits just above the left knee. Element 4 is releasing the club behind the ball for a perfect center hit. This is the only system for determining a precise distance away from the ball with every club. Element 5 is that the club and the back form a 90-degree angle. Rule 3 is a small step with the left, a big step with the right, and then we turn our left foot open and turn our weight back on the outside of the left foot. Let's take a look at the 6 elements of Rule 3. The first element is recocking your wrists. The second is looking at your target. The third is a small step with the left, and the fourth is a big step with your right and putting your weight on the right foot. The fifth is turning your left foot open at a 45-degree angle, and the sixth is turning your weight back on the left side. Let's take a look at ball position. Now, as I squatted and bend from the hips, a small step, a big step, turn the weight back on the left. With the butt of the club hitting just above the left knee, I determined the distance away from the ball I would be every time. You will